Hello, hello, and greetings to you. So, today we are going to do a reading for the chosen ones. I am an energy reader, spiritual consultant. I do not require cards for personal readings, but when it comes to a group collective, I love using cards as navigation. So give me a couple minutes to tune in to the collective of the chosen ones. The chosen ones feel like they're the ones having to do all the work. Like in a work environment, for example, in your career, in business, it just seems like the chosen ones / targeted ones are always the ones that are thrown all of the work, all of the burdens in a work situation. Or that is how a lot of you feel. However, on a positive note, because messages are not always negative, sometimes the messages are positive. And on a positive note, there's progress, I can't speak, progression with this group. And that is lovely. So, a couple months ago, you were not able to handle being targeted at work. You weren't able to handle being targeted at home. You weren't able to handle being targeted in your social circle. But now you have graduated, and this particular group is now able to handle everything that they could not handle before better. If there's something they used to fear a couple months ago, don't really fear it anymore. If they allowed certain coworkers to get to you, coworkers don't really get to you anymore, because I'm sorry I'm whispering because I don't have privacy right now. There's a lot of people a lot of people are outside, and my window is like right next to where everybody is at, and these walls are super thin. So if I'm whispering at any moment, it's just because there's a lot of people here, and I have this thing where I just like privacy when it comes to talking, especially when I'm talking about things that are very intimate, between me and a specific group. So, everybody has their weird they're weird things, and that's just mine. I don't like any outsiders listening to my personal conversations. That's just the way I am. So, where were we? Not letting people get to you. So, this group has improved. Like, there's this trust that this specific group has been able to regain their faith in source. Regain their trust in source. And because of that, you have been blessed by watching the consequences and repercussions of others who deceived you or betrayed you or crossed you or were just simply not genuine. You know, because a lot of people will pretend to be your friend. They'll smile and they'll pretend to care. They'll ask you personal questions about your life, but that doesn't mean that they genuinely care for you. Sometimes it means that they just want to get to know you better because they don't like you. So, bravo. I'm so proud of this group that has surpassed something that you thought that you would never surpass. You kind of, you're so humble that you don't expect to see the consequences of other people's poor behavior or poor decisions. But Source allows you to be a witness, and you witness things that go on at your job, mostly at the workplace is what I'm getting, and your career maybe, where you kind of see people get what they deserve behind the scenes, so to speak. So, and it's not something that you were looking for. It's just something that you were allowed to witness for a reason, so that you see that there is consequences for everything and rewards and blessings for things when we act accordingly. So let's start. I am so curious to see what is the physical work that the chosen ones / targeted ones need to work on. We are going to be using medicine cards. I do not use tarot. I only use positive medicine cards, positive affirmation cards, positive energy cards. And I use nature in its most organic form, as well as the collective of love that is the collective of all of our loves combined. And that's all I need. So let's begin. As well as calling upon all of the medicine of our indigenous culture to provide accuracy through the medicine cards. These are the Sweat Lodge Lakota cards, and let's begin with the first one. The first one is going to be the physical work. Why am I nervous? I feel like I'm nervous. I'm like, what is going to be the physical work? Like, what is the homework? What is the homework for the chosen ones? The homework, the physical work for the chosen ones. And we have water. We have going with the flow. It sounds easy, right? It sounds repetitive. Oh, just go with the flow. But do we really go with the flow? How many people become obstacles in their own life, that get in their own way, that become obstructions and say, no, I want to go the opposite. I'm going to be pessimistic. I'm going to question this even though I know it's true. When do we actually go with the flow? Like, what does that mean to go with the flow? It means to be in a state of acceptance. You just accept the time, the day, the energies, the lessons as they come through, right? Have you noticed that when you allow your week to just flow naturally as nature wants it to go, and you don't try and control it and try to OCD it, it ends marvelously. But when we get our ego involved and we want to control this and we want to control that and we control this and control that and we want to plan this and we want to plan that, what happens? Ego becomes disappointed, and then ego is back to self-destructive behavior, no more motivation. And then you have to start all over and get yourself off the floor. Because we want to control everything. I'm not saying to allow someone to control you. Now, of course, if you feel that somebody wants to control you, you have the authority to say, no, you're not going to control me. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about yourself. Yourself, like your own routine that you have in your own mind. How much of it is ego? How many people in this group need to have an ego death of some sort? How many people here have noticed that ego just gets in the way? If we go back and look at all the times that we were disappointed, or that someone let us down, or that there was a relapse, or a mental breakdown, or lashing out, getting angry, how many of us can admit that it was ego-based? Ego is the opposite of water. Allow the water to flow in your life. Allow your life to flow like water. And you will be tested, and you just got to let it go. You have to let it go. You will be tested. Like, let's say you're a parent and you're in the flow, you're feeling good, you're bubbly, you're high vibration. And then here comes your kid, and he just got cake inside the fish tank. You know, you turn around and you were so happy, and then you turn around and your child got cake, chocolate cake in the fish tank that you just cleaned a couple days ago. You're going to start vibrating in anger, right? And you have to think, what would water do in this situation? You know, you have to restrain. I know it's hard. I know it's easier said than done, but you just, even if it means walk to another room. Because a lot of times people who have anger issues or unresolved trauma tend to lash out right then and there where the trigger happens. But it's important that if a situation similar to that would occur, you remove yourself from the room. You say, you know what, I'm not gonna lash out. I'm not gonna get angry. I am going to go to the bathroom, the garage, the patio. Focus on my breathing. And just laugh about it. Just laugh about it. Take a picture. Take a picture. Take a picture of the child next to the fish tank with the cake everywhere, because one day all the things that make us angry we will laugh at later. Later on, when we're old and looking at pictures, we're going to be like, remember that time? Remember that time you got the chocolate cake in the fish tank? Is it really worth getting angry? Let's move on to the inner work. Okay, that jumped. We have grandmother. This is all about the chosen ones trusting your intuition over everything during this time. The intuition of the chosen ones is being tested. The chosen ones know the truth from the false. Intuitively just know. But your friends, your family, Google are going to tell you you're crazy and that you don't know what you're talking about. So the inner work is going to be practicing staying grounded when the whole world tells you that you don't know what you're talking about when it comes to your intuition and your abilities, because we all have different abilities. Some of us are scanners, some of us are psychics, some of us are channels, some of us are healers, some of us are acupuncturists, acupressurists. We have our practical purpose and we have our prime purpose, and everyone's prime purpose varies. And then we have our soul purpose, and that varies as well. And not all of you, because there's a group of you here that knows better, but there's another group of you here that kind of questions their own abilities and Googles things like, oh, was this the truth? Like, don't depend on Google for the truth. Google is not going to tell you the truth. So the intuition, learning to believe in your own abilities and your own intuition and your own power is the inner work that this group needs to work on. What is the spiritual advice for the chosen ones? Let's call you the COs. Oh. If you are isolated, you are definitely a CO. If you're having issues with feeling like you are excluded at your job, or you are excluded in your career, or everybody gets promoted except for you, even though they've been there less time than you, that's how you know you're a CO. Because people can smell your power. They can sense your power. They know that they cannot purchase your power for being a collective of CO. CO is usually the ones who have a very strong relationship with Source. The spiritual work here is to make a decision. This group is undecisive about where to go, how to get there, how do I 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 get there. Going crazy trying to figure out how am I going to make this possible? How am I going to make this possible? But you haven't even decided where you're going. A lot of people who are COs, you are asked to move by Source yearly. Sometimes every 6 months, but more so I feel like yearly, like a lot of nomads here. You're a nomad, a free nomad that just cannot just stay in one place, because it's difficult to find a good place that resonates with your soul. And on astro.com, you put in your birth date information and it will tell you what countries would be the best and not the best for you to live in. But this here, this group is low-key suffering. So in the outside, people will never tell. People will never tell that you're suffering, but inside you're suffering. And you need to make up your mind about what you want to do. Where do you want to go? If you can't figure out 5 answers to 5 questions that you have, figure out the primary one. What is the primary issue in your life? What is the primary issue in your life? Is it your health? Is it the location? So the reason why you can't figure out anything is because you haven't made a decision on the very first one. Okay. So focus, trust your intuition, and allow something to go with the flow that is not people telling you what to do. By flow, I mean a supernatural force that pushes you a certain direction. Usually the correct answer is the one that nobody supports. Your whole family doesn't want you to go. All your friends don't want you to go. Nobody wants you to go. Usually when nobody wants you to go somewhere, that means that you should go there. Okay, let's keep going. What else is going on? Or what other positive messages can be told to the chosen ones? A lot of chosen ones are realizing their power, and they're realizing why they're getting treated the way that they are. When before you couldn't figure out why people were treating you a certain way, and now you realize why people are treating you a certain way. It's because you intimidate them. You make them feel little. You make them feel less powerful, less seen, less noticed, less acknowledged. But they will never admit it. Instead, they will treat you bad. They will challenge you. They'll never promote you. They'll, what do they call that? Gang targeting. What is it called when you're at work and you get, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like gang targeting. Like, not gang, but like a group of people targeting one individual at the workplace or at the career, at the business. Something like that, okay? What do we have here? We have singing the song of your soul and dance to your unique rhythm. I love that. So everybody has an individual soul song, and that's what you need to focus on, is focus on your own vibration, your own song that your soul sings, your own dance to your own unique rhythm. There's no need for you to go and copy others when you already have your unique blueprint. You don't have to go and listen to what everybody else listens to. if what you listen to is really different from what everybody else around you listens to, then why are you going to compromise that? A lot of you here are realizing that you're doing too much for people. You've always been the one to carry the heavy weight in your family dynamics. In relationships, you've always attracted people who are very controlling or abusive physically, to the point where you needed a restraining order. And it's just, when people are so high vibrational, it attracts the polar opposite. And the polar opposite is going to be angry people, toxic people, people that you don't really want around you, and they're just going to be attracted to your energetic light. So that's just how it is, you know, because a lot of people who are so hypersensitive, they don't understand why they attract, like, they think, what's wrong with me that I attract such aggressive people or such abusive people or so manipulative people, or so what's that word, psychotic. Psychotic, you know. A lot of COs will kind of freak out, like, what's wrong with me that I'm attracted to a psychotic person? Like, does that mean I'm psychotic? You know, and it's not that. It's just that the polar opposite is going to be attracted to your energetic light. And it takes years for people to figure that out, until finally they realize that they need to be with someone who has similar ambitions, similar goals, similar soul purposes, similar prime purposes. You know, it's not about the practical. The practical is the most superficial and irrelevant and least of importance when it comes to this lifetime. You know, everybody puts the superficial and external influences first, when it's the soul that is the primary star of the show. It's your soul. Okay. Inaction is the best action. So when it comes to thinking that something is wrong, thinking that you're doing something wrong, nope, nope, nope. The reason why a couple of you have that issue is because you have anxiety issues, and you have to work on the reasons why you feel anxiety to begin with. Figure out if the anxiety is coming from dietary issues or environmental issues, meaning your surroundings, your atmosphere. Inaction is the best action for you, means that your current situation is in harmony with the natural course of nature. Everything is as it should be. Accept this and do nothing. Focus on experiencing and learning and allowing things to unfold. Allowing things to unfold just like the water. There's a group in here that needs to avoid caffeine. For those of you who drink coffee or tea or energy drinks, you're being suggested to have one caffeinated drink a day, or 2 caffeinated drinks where the caffeine is not that much in content. You know what I mean? So either 2 caffeinated drinks that are not that caffeinated, or the levels are not so caffeinated, or just 1 strong caffeinated drink. But the caffeine is interfering with your psyche and your sanity, because there's so much unresolved trauma with a lot of COs that when you don't deal with them and you have too much caffeine, it will come off as bipolar, paranoia, delusions. Okay? That's just energetically what I pick up. Emotions. What's up with the emotions? What are the positive messages to improve the emotional state for this group? This is, I think, my favorite card in the entire deck. And this entire stack, baby, is Tumbled Stones, Rainbow Healing. Like, I even like the way it feels. So, the biggest issue when it comes to your emotions, this lovely group, is networking and your social life. Networking and your social life need to improve. You need to be meeting more people, chatting with more people, going out with more people in person, because that produces extra serotonin, extra dopamine. It improves your chi and your life force, and you just have all this motivation to continue to live your life. The reason why you don't have motivation to live is because you're isolated, being introverted. And that's not natural. That's all part of the agenda. Part of the agenda that wants you to stay home and get zapped by EMF radiation. They want you right next to the Wi-Fi box, right next to the laptop, right next to the phone, right next to the cell phone tower, right next to the smart meter, right next to the microwave. What are they going to come up with next? And when you're out, like, go to groups that are activities, like outdoor activities for groups, where groups get together for a good cause, like a positive festival, a positive concert. That is overdue for you. It's overdue. When was the last time that you went out in a healthy manner to a healthy place, to a healthy location, to be around healthy people, positive, good vibes people, and just exchange numbers? It's so important for your mental health to do this and to converse with people and to see the differences and to learn and to maybe update and upgrade your own perception of life through other people's stories and experiences and wisdom that we all are meant to share and exchange with one another. There are negative frequencies that are A-ing us every day. They are A-ing us. Wanting to cause a separation amongst the people, wanting to cause isolation amongst the people. That's not how we're supposed to be. We are meant to be networking. We are meant to be more social. We are meant to have thriving communities. And instead, what's going on when you turn on the news, when you turn on the social media, when you turn on the stream, when you start scanning the world, what do you see instead of this? You see chaos. You see violence. You see people going rampant. You see rampages. You see, rioting and people going into stores and jacking them. That's what's going on right now. That's what's going on in the world. So all of that affects us. everything that happens to somebody else is like a ripple, and we can feel what is going on. Just like the Einstein-Rosen bridge, right? We can feel what is going on the other side. You can make contact with someone who is in pain that is far away from you. You can help heal someone who is far away from you, right? You take a piece of paper, and one person is in Africa and one person is in Antarctica. And you put a little dot on the paper, and how are you going to provide healing for them? How are you going to provide healing for them if they're so far away? You fold the piece of paper in half, and those two dots make contact. So it doesn't matter how far away you are, you can make contact. You can communicate with people. You can provide healing for people. Even if it seems like distant healing, it's not really distant. Okay. So this is so important. Like, it's so important for people to get to know people from different cultures and different backgrounds, because there is, I don't want to get too deep into that because then I'll start rambling. Let's just move forward to the positive messages for this group. Okay, we have the garden and the gate. Do you see this? Do you see this? Did you not get this card last time? This group, the chosen ones / targeted ones, have trapped yourself in a cage, and you've locked the cage. Excuse me. I have to cough. You have locked the cage. You've locked the garden. You've locked, it's the garden, but it's a metaphoric cage, and you locked it. And then you have the key to the lock, and you put it around your neck, and you're just holding it like this, and you're all locked up. You locked yourself up. You've locked yourself up. And you have a whole life to live. There's meadows and pastures and mountains and so much to this life, relationships to explore. And you've just locked yourself up. Why? Just because you have abilities? Just because you have power? Just because... Why? Why are you causing your own suffering? Some of you, like, I get the whole protection. I get that you're protecting yourself. Protecting. But when we're so obsessed with protection, you tend to manifest an attack. Because if someone is constantly walking around with a knife, I have a knife, everywhere I go I have to have a knife, you're manifesting the need to use it. And protecting yourself, isolating yourself. You are tormenting yourself. There's a whole world to explore. You can't be scared forever to go out into the world. So many of people in this group, you have a complex CPTSD that needs to be worked on and cleared. It's very common for things like that to return, and that's why we clear them again and clear them again. So get yourself out of your cage that you have put yourself in. Why have you put yourself in a cage just because people made you feel however they made you feel? You are the one who threatened them because you made them see their darkness. By being around you, they noticed their darkness. So why do you have to suffer? Why do you have to put yourself in a cage because you made that person feel bad, because you made that person notice their own darkness? You see what I'm saying? They should be the ones that are locked up noticing their own darkness. You already did that. So you're compromising too much. I believe we talked about this last time. You need to work on your boundaries. You need to work on saying no, because people are going to try and seep into your life, especially people that, let's say, you consider dating in the past. They're going to want to come in, and because they know that you're a vulnerable person and sensitive and fragile, they're going to know exactly what to say to try to come in. And you have to be strong about your boundaries, about who does not deserve you, and be clear about that, as well as opening your heart up to someone more deserving. Because a lot of people feel that they should never open their heart up because they got hurt. No, you should open your heart to the right person. You just happen to open your heart to the wrong one in the past. That doesn't mean that you can't reopen it and have an amazing experience with someone that is more of a resonance for you. And don't forget that inaction is the best action, because you get this insecurity that tries to come in and tries to make you think like you got to do something. Like when we talked about the moving part, that's just for some people who are moving from state to state, city to city, town to town, country to country, island to island. That's for that group. But what I'm talking about in action is when this card comes up, it's like your state of mind is correct. Your state of mind is correct. It's other people, other negative influences, other opposing forces around you that are making you question yourself. Don't do that. All right. Yeah. Exactly. The initiation, rite of passage, crossing the threshold. My beloveds, do you see this? This is all of the crap that you've been through. These are all your negative thoughts, all the stuff that you've cleared, all the stuff you need to clear, all the stuff you cleared and came back. And it's like all you got to do is go into the right path. So remember that other card you got about making a decision, choosing a lane, choosing a path, choosing a road, and then figuring everything else out as you go? Instead of scrambling with 5 unanswered questions, just get one answered. So once you make that rite of passage, look what happens. Look at the colors when you make the right choice. All of those beautiful colors when you make the right choice, the right path, the right lifestyle, the right person, the right career, the right mindset, the right spiritual belief. Let's do one last card. Okay, these little manas over here. Let's do two. Let's do two. I haven't done a mana in a long time. These are kind of staring at me like, what's up? What's the mana for the COs? Ooh. Remembering the foundations. Always come back to the foundation. Whenever you feel triggered by anything, especially when it's spontaneous and an unexpected trigger or an unexpected opposing force or an unexpected attack, go back to your foundations. Don't try and scramble for answers. Just go back to your foundations. Why are you a CO again? Because of your connection to source. So just reconnect and get back into a grounding place, even if that means removing yourself from that room and going to another room. Try that. Try that, because a lot of people, especially like bipolar, schizophrenia, complex PTSD, schizotol, anybody who has those kinds of issues will have a breakdown right then and there. And part of the practice is removing yourself from the scene, removing yourself from the room, getting out, going into another room, figuring out what you're going to do, and then coming back to that room. Because those seconds that you're taking, you're interrupting your impulsiveness. That's what you want to do by leaving to another room, is you want to interrupt the impulsive behavior that leads to self-destruction, that leads to your downfall. It's always the impulse, ego, impulse, right? That's always the stuff that get people into trouble, that get people into a lot of trouble. But when you just remove yourself from the room, think about your breathing, separate yourself, remember that if you were to remote view an airplane, the view of an airplane, and then go higher, remember that when you look down at Earth, all the problems are so insignificant. But humanity and ego want to make little problems into big, big mountains and make things more complicated than it needs to be. So, last but not least, colors. What colors does this group need to work on energetically? The beautiful, beautiful coral, allowing flow and synchronicity into your life. So the color coral is all about lightening up. Lighten up. You have this hard, serious exterior. You know, you have like some of the COs are so like this football player kind of demeanor, and you have to soften it up, because a lot of the demeanors that the COs feel like they have to adopt are not their own. It's just because of how hypersensitive they are to other people's responses and reactions of their presence, that they feel that they have to modify themselves and be this or be that. And coral is all about lightening up that BS, adopting some personality that you think people want to see, because your own is the most powerful and the most genuine, and you don't have to do anything to change how you intuitively want to present yourself to the world. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time. Bye.